Понеслась. Все.
Okay, here we go.
Все.
Right? Everyone's ready?
Все.
We're on.
Есть.
Yeah.
People, can you hear me? 'Cause it's time, yes, it's time to be free.
I think it became clear that gamers in the East, among others, were going to like the game from as early as the closed beta stage. So even before release, I mean, objectively speaking. I think a surprise for us was that, well, it wasn't really a surprise, but we realized, I did, and I think you all, as well as Slava Makarov and Serb, did too, that CIS gamers would like this game, but we didn't expect that they would love it this much. Something like that.
Look, I think you're not being completely honest. It was already clear that it was a hit during closed beta, when queues of players lined up to try it. And during open beta, it became clear that we needed to deploy more servers right away, and so on.
Well, Slava Makarov told me once during a break, we'll reach about 100,000 concurrent players online. Then it's going to stabilize. That was his prediction. And here we are now, and where are those 100,000 players? There was another important moment. Let me remind you that we stayed focused. Sergei Berkatovsky and Slava Makarov came to us from the world of browser MMOs, those in-browser multiplayer games that were popular in Russia. And we had never made such a game at Wargaming. They shared their wisdom and explained that we needed to think and care about our players. It's not that you do something bad to a player on purpose, but you need to care for and think about your audience proactively. And most importantly, deploy an ever-moving conveyor that delivers content constantly and consistently. This means new maps, tanks, soundtracks, modes, graphical updates, improved effects, and so on and so forth. Plus, Europe and America were getting ready for World of Tanks, and I think we had already agreed the Chinese launch. That's why we were extremely happy about this explosive growth on the first morning. The first morning when this curve resembling an ice hockey stick went up. We were looking at those numbers and thought, holy smokes! But we didn't start celebrating right away. No one skipped work the next day. Everyone came in and kept on working. That was a very, very important moment.
Technically, we were already working on the first post-release update,
And the work was fully underway. I just remember that.
I just want to say that I play under the name Viktor Kis. That is my nickname, and it has the WG clan tag in the brackets. And those who read the forums and watched videos, those people knew that it was me. And this is like an indicator for me to measure the project temperature. So I didn't even need to read the forums or look at the statistics.
Well, sometimes you should read the forums.
If the update is good and successful, players say, "Thanks, Victor. Great job, Wargaming. Keep on. We love you and respect you. Thank you," and so on in-game. And if the update is not so good, well, you can count such updates on one hand. It happens, and then you see asterisks. I disabled the profanity filter, and I see...
People, can you hear me?
I went to the forums and it was all closed. The tank forum back then, only one section was open to the public. News was published there, I think, and there was a big thread of about 500 pages. I want an invite, waiting for an invite for the beta, so people were asking for invites and just waiting. So they were chatting there while waiting for an alpha or beta invite. I don't remember. I think first alpha and then beta. And I looked at that and thought, what the hell? I'm not going to wait. I'll just contact one of the administrators. And I chose Slava. His nickname was Dobry Fey in Russian. And in Tanks, his nickname was written in English, of course. So I just sent him a private message and said something like, "Hi, Slava." No, not just "Hi, Slava." Something like, "Hello, Dobry Fay. I'm a history student. I was in my 6th year getting master's degree. I'm a history student. I'm into the history of armored vehicles and warfare in general. May I get an invite?" And he sent me an invite. And that was that. And I thought, okay, cool. I entered the game and fell in love with it right away, the moment I saw the garage, just the garage. And then I played my first battle, and I realized at once that it was the game for me, and that it was going to be huge. It was so addictive.
People, can you hear me?
I researched the mouse and the IS after that. We had just the IS-7 and mouse at tier 10 back then. So after the mouse, I thought, well, in fact, I was researching them both at the same time because you get the daily ×2 XP bonus for the first victory. So you play the mouse, I mean the German vehicles, then the Soviets, and then I started playing medium tanks as well. But I preferred playing the heavies, then artillery, and I think I started researching tank destroyers last.
Mainly I played medium tanks, and I played all of them, all the way to the top tiers.
Together with Kirill, Sergei, or Anton Sitnikov, we started rolling out in a platoon of 3 medium tanks as soon as this option became available. My favorite medium, and my favorite tank in general for its look and everything else, it's a T-44. I just love it. It's beautiful.
Just like Nikita, I researched medium tanks, and of course the T-44 was my favorite for a long time. An awesome tank.
You also played the Patton and pre-Patton a lot.
But nevertheless, recalling our first favorite tanks, it's like your first love. You have just one, and it stays with you for a long time, if not forever. So the T-44, the good old T-44, still has a place in my heart. We also played in the T-44 for the Wargaming Challenge.
Ah, yes.
Yes, Wargaming Challenge.
Свет по центру. По центру свет. Так, 44-ки назад. Кого видим, кого? К дереву уронили. Тигр. За камнем. Тигра видим. Так, 44-ки стянутся к горе. Макаров наверх. Кирилл, как в пятницу в последний раз. КВшка пошла вперед. Кирилл, как в прошлый раз. Макаров по полке. Кто-то идет к нам на базу игнорировать. Хумель спрятался в углу. Замочить. 26-е, помогите Су-14.
Лео на базе. Он не успеет.
Так, фокус не удался, Факир был пьян, перерыв.
People, can you hear me?
And they completely destroyed us in the third game, right? You can find it. I think there's a video that we did about Wargaming Challenge out there on YouTube. We were all crying there in the end, well, pretending, of course. We also made and printed out a certificate for the players that said, "You got us." Everyone signed that certificate. Well, Victor came up, looked at the certificate and said, "I'm not going to sign that," and walked away.
Тигр 31. Ну все, передай поздравления доктору Шефу. Отлично.
Як котят.
Кирилл, что?
Взяли меня в команду.
Ну, увы. Пойдем в пьян.
Serb introduced the rule of 2 victories. It's when you play in a platoon until you win twice. There could be more defeats, of course.
But you win twice and then get back to work again. I didn't really play in a platoon. I'm a sociopath. I used to hide in the bushes in my TD and punish you. Yeah, but you remember how Pasha used to say, no, no, and suddenly, yes. Well, I played sometimes. Platoon means responsibility. Not let the teammates down. And play properly. Why'd you need that? It's easier for me to sit and shoot calmly, alone.
I remember before platoons were added, we joined the battles with a 3-2-1 countdown. So it happened once that Sergei Berkatovsky and I were on one team, and Nikita on the other. And we were in the same room. It was Himmelsdorf. Sergei and I pushed through the tank alley to the base, and Nikita, who was defending the base, well, we just owned him.
Putting it mildly.
And very happy with ourselves, we went out to have a smoke and said, it was a nice battle, as good as after having good sex. And Nikita looks out of a door and says, that wasn't good sex.
Yeah, that wasn't good sex.
People, can you hear me?
That update? I don't remember the number. It was at the end of 2010, I think. That update is in fact legendary. One of the biggest in the history of the game. It wasn't just Tier 9 medium tanks that were introduced. If you look in the patch notes, there are Tier 9 mediums and one Tier 9 TD. So the Germans were still at Tier 8 before the Jagdtiger was moved from Tier 8 to 9. I think something like that. New artillery was added. The M40-43 was just awesome. Ruinberg, El Haluf, tank company battles, and different achievements were added, like Whitman's Medal. That was a huge patch in current terms. It's like 1.0, but about gameplay. The changes there were enormous. And Misha Jivetc used to write those patch notes manually. He was always late with them. And everyone came up to him and said, Misha, where's the patch notes? Misha, where are they? That was a huge game version. They knew about it in advance. Everyone was accumulating XP, and it was top secret how much XP you needed to progress from Tier 8 to 9. That was crazy. This update introduced the Pershing, which was at Tier 9 at that time. And the T-23E3 was at Tier 8, and it was absolutely useless. As a medium tank fan, I had no idea why that tank was added, but the Pershing was super awesome. It was the Pershing that started all that hold-down position gameplay, using the terrain folds, taking advantage of the DPM and weakly armored tanks, I mean. This is a legendary update. It's in the top 5 of the biggest updates in the game's history.
People, can you hear me?
Excuse me, I'll interrupt you for a minute. We were doing a radio interview one time. The media wanted to talk to us, and we constantly did interviews. And right in the middle of the broadcast, you can even find that recording on YouTube. We heard, well, it wasn't a shout, it was real roaring in the corridor. Whitman in the mouse! Something like that. And it's getting closer and closer. We're hearing that. And we're doing an interview. The door swings open. Victor rushes in the room. Whitman in the mouse! I'm showing him it's an interview, and he's like, the door shuts, and this Whitman in the mouse roar is heard farther and farther away, fading in the hall.
Ой-ой-ой, что там? Паника происходит.
Так, это был наш генеральный директор.
Генеральный директор тоже человек.
Который только что заработал, что, прошу прощения?
Воина на Маусе.
Который заработал Витмана на Маусе. Вот он с дикими воплями вообще пещерного человека примчался к нам в комнату вообще. И всех поставил на уши. Прошу прощения еще раз за него. О, слышите, он орет Витман, да.
I will always remember your first Whitman's medal. That first Whitman.
It became a meme. Everyone remembered.
Aw, look at him. He's getting emotional.
It was a battle in the Type 59, unexpectedly. It was a battle on Murovanka. The battle was indeed very intense and interesting. The thing is that I was running out of shells toward the end of the battle. And the enemy? I think there were 3 SPGs. Luva. And the people in the chat are saying fire. And I replied, guys, I have no shells. Then fire with gold shell. I have no shells at all. So I know there was nothing else I could do. So I decided to go into the woods and see the first SPG there. I think it was a grill. I ram and destroy it. Then I see another SPG. It fired, but there was only splash damage. I don't remember whether it destroyed itself with a splash or I finished it off with a ram. The same for the third SPG. So that's it. I thought I would go and capture the base. And I see the Luva rolling. It's also damaged. It doesn't fire at me for some reason. Maybe the Luva has a much higher ammo capacity than the Type. Maybe they forgot to replenish ammo. Or I don't know. Maybe the guy had to go somewhere and someone else was playing for him. A cat, a parrot, maybe. I don't know. But I accelerate and somehow manage to ram its side. My Type destroys it, and I've literally maybe 10 hit points left. So I go. And the guys are going, yeah! And I'm thinking, that was impossible. Why didn't I record it?
People, can you hear me?
So once we arrived during our tours, press tours and meetings with players, and we had meetings in Germany, the US, everywhere. We also went to Poland. And you know, it was kind of scary. Our small PR group, we booked a place. I think it was an American-style pub. And our hotel was somewhere in the outskirts of Warsaw. So we took the long ride to the meeting place, thinking, will they come or not? We announced on the forums that wargaming was arriving. 7 o'clock, meet us in that bar. Dear Polish players, please come, and so on. So we're walking, and there's no one there. And it was already dark. It was fall or winter. So we walk, and then we see 3 guys. 3 silhouettes approach us, and we thought, well, this sucks. 6 of us came, and there were 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And we thought, what kind of meeting is this when there's twice as many developers than players? Hello? Hello, Wargaming? Wargaming? World of Tanks? World of Tanks? Are you our players? Yes, we are. And then literally one of them puts 2 fingers in his mouth. I can't whistle like that. And goes... So he whistles, waves his hand like this, and from around the corner, as if to the music of, you know, like Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. And about 100 guys walk out. Well, okay, maybe 70 or 80. From around the corner. They were looking for us as well. We were going around in circles, and they walked around in circles as well, and they couldn't find us. So we find 3 guys, they whistled, and they all walked out to us, a whole bunch of them. Everyone started hugging, fraternizing. Well, we tore that bar apart. That's it.
I remember how these player gatherings went. You think they'll tell you off, but no. You arrive. People are glad to see you in real life. They shake your hand, and then they make sure you're having a good time. There was a lot of communication, maybe even too much, but it was interesting.
I think everyone recalled Misha's catchphrase. I won't say it now.
About suffering?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to wear a lot. What could you do? There were difficult situations. You had to react. Our community, thankfully, is decent and reasonable. All this went on and nobody really worried about it that much. Okay, Misha. Do you remember the messages players sent you asking to unban them? Like I didn't fire my teammates, that was my parrot. Its cage was open, so the parrot sprang out. Jumped onto the mouse, and clicked several times and destroyed 2 tanks. Talking about parrots, there was a message saying that it sold a player's tanks. It jumped on my keyboard and sold all my tanks. Yeah, there really was a message like that. But there were many, let's say creative emails. People would come up with anything. Maybe something like that could indeed happen to someone, but it's hard to know in that constant flow. But it was fun, to everyone.
People, can you hear me?
The first Gamescom where we had a booth for players, I think it's one of those cool moments I'll remember forever. You create an awesome booth design, you set up the computers, and understand that players will come and try your product for the first time in Germany. And you're also trying to meet the standards regarding participation in such expos. At that time, we clearly understood that beautiful girls were dancing in each booth. So, as head of marketing at the time, my message to the guys in charge of the event was something like, the girls who will be dancing for us should be sexy. They need to have a certain appeal because we have a male audience, a grown-up audience who like to enjoy a beautiful dance. So we arrived at that expo and went to check on how those girls were dancing on our first day. I was really surprised looking at how all players were holding their phones and trying to film their dances. And those dances were absolutely naughty. In a panic, I ran up to the guys in charge of the event and said, "What's going on? Why is everyone filming the dancers on our stage?" Subsequently, we found out that the guys from our German team didn't completely understand my message about the appeal and invited two popular German adult actresses. That's why everyone who watched those movies in that region tried to film how those girls were trying to dance at the World of Tanks stage.
To me, World of Tanks has also become a kind of family factor. My brother lived in California, and then he got married. They had kids. So almost every evening, or every other evening, well, it's evening here and daytime there, we created a platoon. He played on the CIS server, which we had in Europe, in Frankfurt. So we played for an hour or two. We played in every tank we could, earning that ×2 XP in Tier 10 vehicles. Back then, we already had about 5 or 6 Tier 10 tanks, and we talked. How's mom? How's dad? How are the kids? How's the weather? How's the wife? How's this? How's that? And an understanding developed that World of Tanks is not just a game about big steel vehicles. It's also about a kind of social aspect they bring. Like I could talk to my brother that way. And this is how our family kept being strong and close. Well, my son, for example, he's a zealous tank player. He's a fan. I mean, he plays much better than his dad now, of course.
Yeah, we're not the same anymore. Our reactions are not the same, and so on.
So I literally watched him growing up from a newbie to a veteran tanker who plays thoughtfully, with understanding, uses tactical thinking, and so on. I'm really proud of him when I watch him playing World of Tanks.